The Galactic Empire, a civilization spanning countless star systems, detected an unknown fleet lingering at the edge of their meticulously patrolled borders. These vessels were laughable by Empire standards, crude, unevenly constructed, and covered with mismatched panels. To the Empire's high command, they looked like relics barely spaceworthy, let alone capable of challenging their armada. The alien admiral, perched on the command deck of his pristine flagship, sneered at the sight of the unorganized human formation. This would be an easy conquest, a show of force to remind the galaxy of their dominance. The admiral issued a broadcast to the human fleet, expecting them to cower. His holographic image flickered aboard every human ship, displaying his grandiose armor and the ceremonial insignia of his rank. "Attention, primitive vessels," he began, his voice oozing condescension. "You have trespassed into the territory of the Galactic Empire. You will surrender your ships and submit to our authority, or face annihilation." This is not a negotiation. What he didn't expect was laughter. It started small, with a chuckle here and there, but quickly escalated. Entire crews aboard the human ships burst into hysterical fits of laughter. The admiral's imposing image loomed on their screens, growing increasingly confused. "What is the meaning of this mockery?" he demanded, his voice rising in indignation. The humans could barely contain themselves. "Oh no, not another alien overlord speech," one pilot wheezed. "Do they think this is a sci-fi B-movie?" Another joked. The entire exchange was unintentionally broadcast back to the Empire's fleet due to a technical oversight, filling their comms with the sound of human mirth. The admiral's second-in-command turned to him, clearly puzzled. "Admiral," their response. "It does not align with expected fear patterns." The admiral's face darkened. "This is insolence. They are trying to provoke us. Prepare the fleet for a show of force. Let them see the might of the Empire." Unaware of, or perhaps indifferent to, the Empire's growing ire, the humans continued to banter among themselves. Someone compared the alien ships to a fleet of overly polished toys. Another sarcastically asked if the admiral came with an action figure. The laughter was infectious, and soon, even the most serious officers were cracking up at the absurdity of the situation. The human fleet's communications officer finally composed herself long enough to issue a reply. "Galactic Empire, we acknowledge your, impressive speech. But we're not sure about that surrender part. Could you maybe send over a copy of your terms? Written on one of those shiny capes you're all wearing? We'll consider it." This only fueled the humans' amusement further, as the Empire's comms fell silent, no doubt processing what they saw as incomprehensible disrespect. But for the humans, it was nothing personal. They'd grown up on stories of alien invasions, movies, games, comics, all of them following the same tired formula. To them, this encounter felt less like a threat and more like a parody. The Empire didn't understand it yet, but they had already lost the first battle, not through firepower or strategy, but through humanity's inability to take them seriously. The Galactic Empire's fleet surged forward, their sleek, shimmering ships moving in perfect synchronization. Energy cannons hummed ominously, building up for what they believed would be a decisive first strike. On paper, this was a battle they couldn't lose. Their weapons were generations ahead of anything humanity could possess, their defenses impenetrable. But as the first volley of plasma bolts streaked toward the human ships, something completely unexpected happened. The human fleet scattered in what appeared to be absolute chaos. Their ships moved erratically, darting in random directions, spiraling, spinning, and even veering dangerously close to one another. From the Empire's perspective, it looked like the humans had no strategy at all, like they were panicking. But then, the plasma shots missed. All of them. "Admiral, our targeting systems cannot predict their movements," an officer reported. "They're behaving irrationally." The admiral scowled. "Nonsense. Increase firepower. They can't avoid us forever." But the humans could and did. What the Empire failed to grasp was that the seemingly random movement wasn't random at all. The human pilots were employing a tactic born from centuries of dogfights and zero-gravity simulations. Unpredictability. It was something no Empire algorithm could calculate. Meanwhile, The human comms were alive with gleeful chatter. Did you see that shot? Missed by a mile. Yeah, and I'm not even trying to dodge. Just spilled my coffee over here. Should we let them hit one of us for pity's sake? While the Empire's fleet wasted energy trying to pin down the elusive humans, the humans began their counterattack. One of the ships activated its tractor beam, not to lock onto the enemy, but to hurl a nearby asteroid directly at the Empire's forward line. The rock, spinning at insane velocity, smashed into one of their cruisers, causing a chain reaction of explosions. What? What did they just do? The admiral barked. His officers scrambled to explain. They used an asteroid, sir, as a projectile, and we didn't detect it? No, sir. It seems they weren't targeting us with traditional weapons. The admiral's frustration grew as the humans continued their antics. One ship, seemingly defenseless, deployed reflective panels across its hull. When the Empire fired on it, the energy blasts bounced back, striking the Empire's own fleet. Another ship emitted a strange signal, scrambling the Empire's communications. To the humans, it was a practical joke, broadcasting an ancient Earth meme. Rick Astley's "Never Gonna Give You Up." The aliens, hearing it for the first time, were utterly baffled. Admiral, the interference. It's some kind of audio weapon. Repetitive. Nonsensical. Shut it down. As the humans' antics escalated, the Empire grew increasingly disorganized. The Admiral, once confident, now looked frazzled. This isn't warfare. It's madness, he shouted. For the humans, it was all part of the plan. Their fleet wasn't outfitted with the most advanced technology, but they didn't need it. Creativity, humor, and a refusal to play by the rules were proving to be their greatest weapons. The Galactic Empire's fleet, designed for order and precision, was unraveling in real time. Reports of failure and confusion flooded the flagship's bridge. Every attempted strategy was met with nonsensical human countermeasures. The humans weren't fighting like warriors, they were acting like pranksters, and it was working. Admiral, we've detected another anomaly, an officer announced, his voice strained. One of their ships is broadcasting a signal directly into our encrypted channels. The Admiral narrowed his eyes. What now? Another audio weapon. The officer hesitated before responding. No, sir. It's a poorly translated document. Something about a treaty involving free pizza? The Admiral's jaw tightened. What kind of insult is this? Human comms buzzed with stifled laughter. The treaty was an old Earth joke, hastily translated into the Empire's language. To the humans, it was a gag, a jab at the Empire's overly formal demands. But to the Empire, the document's chaotic grammar and bizarre terms were a cultural affront. Treaties were sacred in the Empire's traditions, and the idea of trivializing one with food was borderline sacrilegious. Meanwhile, the humans kept up their unrelenting barrage of unconventional attacks. One pilot rigged a decoy to resemble a malfunctioning ship, drawing in an Empire destroyer for capture. As the alien crew closed in, the decoy exploded in a harmless but blinding burst of glitter-like particles. The human comms erupted into applause. Congratulations, team. First confirmed kill of their pride. On the Empire's flagship, the Admiral was losing his composure. His officers whispered nervously, unsure how to proceed. Sir, their tactics defy all logic. If they have no strategy, how do we counter them? One officer asked. The Admiral slammed his fist onto the console. They do have a strategy. It's chaos masquerading as incompetence. They're mocking us. His voice rose. We are the Galactic Empire, not some backwater militia. Find their weakness and exploit it now. But finding a weakness in the humans was proving impossible. They didn't adhere to the Empire's rigid frameworks. Every attempt to predict their behavior only led to more frustration. A fleet commander suggested a retreat, but the Admiral refused. We will not be humiliated by a species that thinks warfare is a joke. The Admiral's confidence was further shaken when a human ship infiltrated the edge of their fleet. It wasn't a stealth craft or a cutting-edge vessel, it was a retrofitted garbage hauler. The crew had painted crude graffiti along its side. Noobs beware! Somehow, the hauler slipped past the Empire's defenses and dumped a payload of harmless but foul-smelling waste onto one of their dreadnoughts. The Admiral stared at the reports in silence, his face a mask of disbelief. They sent us literal trash, he muttered. To the humans, it was another victory. For the Empire, it was a disaster. The crew of the flagship watched as chaos rippled through their fleet. Ships collided, command channels failed, and morale plummeted. The once mighty Galactic Empire, feared across the stars, was falling apart, not through superior firepower, but through the sheer absurdity of humanity's unorthodox tactics. The Empire, once a symbol of unparalleled power, now found itself in full retreat. Every attempt to salvage the situation had failed. The Admiral, his face drained of color, watched in disbelief as the human ships continued to mock and evade their every move. The chaotic intelligence the humans seemed to possess was something the Empire had no framework to understand, and it was unraveling them at an astonishing pace. "Pull back the fleet," the Admiral ordered, his voice hoarse. "We are not here to play games. This is an invasion, not a comedy show." But the damage had already been done. Word had spread through the galaxy, and what started as a skirmish had now turned into a galactic spectacle. The humans, with their absurd tactics and relentless mockery, had succeeded in making the Empire look weak, and the galaxy was watching. Throughout the galaxy, alien civilizations tuned in to the broadcasted chaos. What they saw wasn't a serious military conflict. It was a farce. Some even began to laugh along with the humans, sharing memes and jokes about the Empire's failed invasion. One well-placed transmission from a human captain jokingly suggested the Empire retreat to the nearest black hole for a fresh start. Back at the Empire's flagship, the Admiral seethed with rage. He ordered his fleet to disengage completely, their retreat now becoming the subject of ridicule. The humans were victorious, but it was a victory built on humor, ingenuity, and a complete lack of respect for the Empire's grandeur. "We've been defeated by jokes," one of the officers whispered in disbelief. "By humor? By memes?" "Shut up," the Admiral snapped, his voice cracking. "This isn't over. The Empire will not allow this humiliation to stand." But as his words rang hollow, he knew, deep down, that it was. The Empire had lost something far more significant than a battle. It had lost its image as the galaxy's supreme power. On the human side, the victory was both a triumph and a celebration. The crews laughed and joked, their banter flowing freely as if they had just won a trivial contest. "Well, that was easy," one pilot quipped. "Did they actually think we'd take them seriously?" As the human ships dispersed, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Alien species were now mimicking the humans, adopting the same irreverent attitude toward the Empire. Memes flooded every communication channel, poking fun at the once feared Galactic Empire. And yet, it wasn't just about mocking the Empire. Humans had shown the galaxy something else, that they could face overwhelming odds and still find a way to fight back, by using what the Empire didn't understand: humor, unpredictability, creativity. Back on Earth, a brief transmission from the human fleet appeared on every major news outlet, flashing the words, "The Empire's Great Pizza Caper." It was a joke, yes, but it was a message too. Humanity had proven that they were not to be underestimated. The Empire had come to conquer, only to find that the one thing they couldn't defeat was a species that refused to take itself too seriously. And as for the Empire, the damage was done. The galaxy no longer saw them as an unstoppable force. They were a joke. The final blow came when the human fleets, after their victory, casually sent a final transmission back to the Empire. "Better luck next time, losers." The galaxy would never be the same again, and neither would the Empire.